I am going to call to order the November 22nd election board meeting. Note the presence of all three members, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any board comment? No, hearing none, we will go to general public comment, which is limited to 2 minutes. Do we have any general public comment? Okay.
Yes, we do.
Mr. Stein, will you please read the rules?
Absolutely. All right, all speakers should sign into the meeting on the sheet available in the back of the room. All speakers must come to the podium if they are physically able. Speakers should identify themselves by name and municipality. All public comments must be relevant or germane to county election board business. Under the law, this means that the subject matter of all comments must be limited to items or issues which may come before the election board for consideration, or which may come before the election board members for consideration at a future meeting. Whether a matter is germane to election board business is a determination to be made by the county solicitor. Profane, slanderous, or discriminatory language or comments will not be tolerated in accordance with the county's non-discrimination policy. A time limit of 2 minutes will be monitored, and county staff will respectfully request speakers to conclude their comments if the speaker goes beyond the time allotted. The election board is not required to respond to public comments during the course of the meeting, so the public is reminded this is not an opportunity for dialogue or questions and answers. The board chair may direct appropriate county staff to follow up on any questions or additional comments after the meeting. Disruptive behavior, including but not limited to yelling from the seats, arguing whether matters germane to county business once the solicitor has made a determination of such, or refusing to yield the floor once time is elapsed being requested to sit down, or otherwise attempting to disrupt the meeting, shall be grounds for removal or muting from the meeting without further admonishment or warning. And the election board welcomes written correspondence, comments, and feedbacks at commissioners@montgomery.org.
Thank you, Mr. Stein. Kelly?
Would you like to come up? Just ask that you, we ask that you keep it on, but you can speak into the microphone.
Okay.
And you just have
Am I-
2 minutes.
Am I required to? Okay. I hope my time hasn't started yet because I just got some instructions. Okay, my name is Craig Bird. I'm a resident of West Norton and a Republican. The topic I'm addressing today is primarily concerning the most recent election and future elections. I will focus my comments as they apply to Commissioner Gale because he has proclaimed himself the watchdog of both the Democratic and Republican parties. He's also the vice chair of the Montgomery County Election Board. Bottom line up front, Joe Gale has taken no visible action to curtail potential or real election problems, be they accidental, systemic, or nefarious. Here are my supporting points. Joe Gale supported the purchase of the new voting machines, their technical support, changes to electoral process due to the new machines, and procedural and equipment training. I contend that most problems in the current electoral process are as a direct or indirect result of these new machines. Furthermore, Joe Gale failed to inform his constituents, Republican leadership, or other elected officials of anything that was wrong at any point in the electoral process ever. Joe Gale failed to speak at the last 4 election board meetings prior to this most recent election. His only comment at the June 8th meeting was to protest Act 77. Joe Gale appears to be unaware of the many problems that are core to his position as a county commissioner and vice chair of the Montgomery County Election Board. In spite of his criticism of the mail-in voting, Joe Gale failed to ensure that ballot boxes were protected, as his counterpart in Bucks County did. Joe Gale failed to monitor or ask anything about the mail-in ballot operations for the weeks that the process took place. And Joe Gale failed to show up at the mail-in ballot count for the first 3 days. With respect to the voting machines, Joe Gale failed to take action to ensure accuracy of the 16,000 incorrect ballots, did nothing to ensure that they were accurately counted or to prevent double counting. Joe Gale failed to ensure the accuracy of the 9,000 ballots that had to be recreated.
Sir, your time is up.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other general public comment?
No.
All right, and do we have any comment on agenda items? All right, hearing none, we'll move on with the agenda. The first item is certification of the 2021 municipal general election. Ms. Sawyer and Mr. Marlin. Mr. Marlin.
Good afternoon. The Pennsylvania Election Code requires counties to certify the election results by the third Monday following the general election. Today is the date for certification to the Department of State. Prior to certification, we close our canvass and tabulation results and sit for a 5-day waiting period wherein recount petitions may be filed. We closed last week. We are at the end of the 5-day period. Within that 5-day period, we've had 2 filings for local races to be recounted. One of those is the magisterial district judge race in District 38-1-13, and the other filing is in the race for Lower Frederick supervisor. In addition to these 2 races where we have had petitions filed in the Court of Common Pleas, there was also a less than 0.5% difference in the race for the judge of the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania. And in that instance, we have a statutorily mandated recount that we are to conduct, and that recount was ordered to be conducted by the Secretary of State, and we commenced that. So for your first action item this morning, what I am asking the board to do is to certify the results of the November 2nd, 2021 municipal general election, with the exception of these 3 races where a recount has either been ordered or has been petitioned for by petitioners within those districts. And we will certify those results separately as they are concluded.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Marlin. I will make a motion to certify the results of the November 2nd, 2021 municipal general election to the Pennsylvania Department of State, except for the races subject to recount. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Arkos. Any board comment?
I have comment, Mr. Chairman. For the same reasons why I oppose certifying the election results for the 2020 primary election, the 2020 general election, the 2021 primary election, I will now remain consistent and oppose certifying the 2021 general election results. I am opposing this certification because I recognize that the election process in Pennsylvania is being conducted under unconstitutional voting guidelines. This unconstitutional voting law is known as Act 77, which is 50 days of no excuse mail-in voting, which is the longest vote by mail period of time in the nation, and has been nothing but problematic. Act 77 was purely politically motivated scam, and I will never stop exposing the scandal of our Republican-led state legislature colluding with Democrat Governor Tom Wolf, who created this mail-in voting mess that in the eyes of many has totally destroyed the integrity of our election process in Pennsylvania. My vote in opposition today is meant to send a message to Harrisburg that Act 77 must be repealed and that election reforms must be put in place to restore the faith and integrity of our elections. And this is nothing new. I have been a very outspoken critic of mail-in voting and Act 77. I voted against every contract related to mail-in voting and Act 77, whether it's equipment that costs millions of dollars to extract ballots from envelopes, whether it's a real estate lease agreement for a mail-in voting counting center that we never had prior to Act 77, whether it's contracts for print shops that print the ballots for mail-in ballots, every mail-in ballot drop boxes, every single contract related to Act 77, I have opposed. And I do so to educate the public on the disaster of Act 77 and how it was unconstitutionally passed in Harrisburg in 2019 before the coronavirus. And to my knowledge, I'm the only Republican that does that. And the Republicans continue to do diversion tactics to divert attention away from the fact that they colluded with our governor to destroy this election. And it was a trade-off for 50 days of mail-in voting and the removal of straight ticket voting on general election ballots. That's what took place here in Pennsylvania. And I will continue to educate the public and put as much spotlight on this scandal that took place in Harrisburg as I possibly can. So, Mr. Chairman, we'll need a roll call vote on the certification.
Thank you. Mr. Arlett or Mr. Stein, just for clarification for the public record, has Act 77 been declared unconstitutional by any court in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
No, it is not.
Okay, thank you. going to call the roll call. I don't see.
I'll call.
Stacy.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to have a roll call vote on this.
Chair Lawrence?
Chair Lawrence,
Oh, Stacy's there.
Chair Lawrence,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gale,
Opposed?
Commissioner Arkos.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 2-1. Next, we'll go on to the certification of the results of the recount of the race for judge of the Commonwealth Court. Mr. Marlin.
As I had indicated in the previous presentation, there was a recount that was ordered by the Secretary of State for the Judge of Commonwealth Court that was mandated to begin on Wednesday of last week. We commenced it that morning. That needs to be finished by the 23rd and reported to the Pennsylvania Department of State at noon. We were able to wrap our recount over the weekend, so we have a final result for the board to certify. And as we have completed and as the deadline is tomorrow, we're asking the board to take a vote to certify the recount for the Commonwealth Court race.
I will make a motion to certify the results of the recount conducted as mandated by statute and ordered by the Secretary of the Commonwealth to the Pennsylvania Department of State. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Arkos. Mr. Marlin, so can you just emphasize again, because I think some people have gotten confused by this. This was a statewide recount ordered because of the margin statewide. So every county in Pennsylvania, can you just please?
Sure, absolutely. So the Pennsylvania Election Code mandates that any statewide election that has a gap at the end of our initial results of less than 0.5% is subject to a mandated statewide recount. There is an opportunity for the party who is currently trailing to decline that recount. That did not happen in this case, so the secretary went ahead at the beginning of last week and issued an order for all counties across the state to recount that race and that race only. So we did that last week and we finished that up over the weekend, as I've said. So we are here ready to certify the recount results.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other board comment or questions?
Request roll call vote, please.
Okay. Ms. Washington?
Chair Lawrence,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gale,
Opposed?
Commissioner Arkos.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. For closing board comment, I just want to thank Dory Sawyer and our Office of Voter Services for all their hard work. And it's not done yet, as we know, we'll have 2 more races that we need to do a recount on. And I also want to extend all my thanks to all the citizens who participated during the tabulation process as well. Any other closing board comments? All right, hearing none, I will make a motion to adjourn the November 22nd, 2021 meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Elections. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Arkos. Any board comment? All right, hearing none, are there any negative votes?